So good morning to all of you. Welcome to our Friday session. Wonderful to join with all of you. I see we have a powerful group of people gathered here on our Zoom, almost 100 people. I sent out an email last night, many of you may have seen it, with kind of a call to seriousness or a call to really join in the vibrancy of this message we share every day, the experience that we are being guided into, but in a way that maybe is a little different than we usually share each day. By the way, before we start, I just want you to see that this beautiful mural on the back here started yesterday, and you're going to see it developing over the next week. Our artist Kenneth came in yesterday and spent the whole day working on it. It's so beautiful. It's going to be amazing when it's finished. So you'll get to see that as we go. So here's my question. At what point, when someone is going completely out of their mind, at what point does someone slap them and say, snap out of it? Have any of you ever had that experience where you're going crazy, you've lost your mind, and someone shakes you and actually slaps you in the face and says, snap out of it? I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but you've seen it in movies and you've seen it happen before on TV or whatever. And there comes a point at which this seemingly violent act is not violent at all, but is something that we need. We need to snap out of it. So we sit here every day and we talk about this experience. We talk about how essential it is for us to accept the uncompromising truth of this experience, to step into it, not just to dance around the fire, but to accept the truth that the world that I seem to see is not the real world. The me that I seem to be is not the real me. That there is something that is wholly beyond all of this. And if I choose, I can release into that experience right now. If I choose. But instead, how many of us choose to continue? We listen to the message, we hear the words, but we use the words to continue to spin around the illusion, making it real or making it seem real. Or as I said yesterday, taking anything, whether it be a Course in Miracles or a very high teaching, and using it to shield us, not to bring us into the light, but to shield us from the light. And at what point do we need to be shaken and told, maybe a bit forcefully, snap out of it? It's just a dream. You don't need to keep doing this. Well, that's kind of what this lesson is going to be today. And it may feel a little uncomfortable, just like that slap in the face may feel a little uncomfortable. But I promise you it's what we need, because this experience of the split mind that we seem to be inhabiting, we can stay here for what feels like an eternity, or we can wake up in an instant. It's your choice. All I'm really saying is, let's not continue just to use the words and then just go back into that way of thinking that has kept us locked in this so-called reality. If we're going to do this, let's do it. Let's not just talk about it. I have no intention of just talking about this any longer, and I invite you to join me in this experience. So one of the things that we've been doing here for a while is I've been pretty much every day writing something called the Master Teacher Within. Just listening deeply and allowing whatever inspiration comes, writing it down. The point is that the master teacher, or that whole mind, is within each one of us. It's not out there somewhere. Many years ago, and a few others who are here share the same experience, I had a great awakener, a teacher, who was called the master teacher. And he was one who would just as soon slap you upside the head as smile at you. But it was exactly what I needed, and exactly what many of us needed, because I always knew that it came from a certainty and a compassion for me to get this, not just to dance around the fire, but to really get this. And if I surrendered into that, no matter what it looked like, the transformational power of it was beyond anything I've ever experienced. So the point is that that master teacher is not out there somewhere. Hence the title, The Master Teacher Within. It's not the master teacher without. In fact, if you think of those words, if you're looking for the master teacher without, what do? You go without. But when you find that whole mind, that master teacher within you right now, and choose only that, to step into that reality rather than dancing around the illusion, what do you find but who you've always been and where you've always been, the heaven that you never left except in your imagination. So as I said, I've been writing these short bits for each morning for those of you who have not joined us before. And I have one to share now. So let me go ahead and put us on to a share screen. And I want you to really hear this, even though it may feel like that slap in the face. And that's okay, because it's the most compassionate thing we can do right now, is to be shaken and told to snap out of it. So let me read this first, and then we'll go back over it. Here we go. The master teacher within, the voice you hear is but your own. The degree to which your split mind asserts its identity in order to deny the truth is unequaled in time and space. What you call time and space is literally the assertion of your identity. Once again, what you call time and space is literally nothing more than the assertion of your identity. And without that assertion, without you asserting your identity, time and space would no longer exist. I'm going to pause there for a moment because I want you to do something. I'm going to take us off of screen share because I really want you to hear this. You have a choice when you hear this. The choice is going to be, do I take this literally, or is this some kind of a metaphor? I'm challenging you, every one of us, including me, to be uncompromising with what you're about to hear, to take it literally. Don't try and dance around it and say what it means really is this or that. It means what it says. It means what it says. And my willingness to be uncompromising with this message allows me to see that it has always been uncompromising with me. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start at the beginning again. The degree to which your split mind asserts its identity in order to deny the truth is unequaled in time and space. What you call time and space is literally the assertion of your identity. And without that assertion, time and space would no longer exist. You want to portion out time and space according to your belief in yourself, instead of proclaiming that time and space are illusions meant to keep you from experiencing your eternal whole nature. Notice that the word yourself was split into two words, yourself with a small s. Once again, you want the identity, that assertion we're talking about, wants to portion out time and space according to your belief in yourself with a small s, instead of proclaiming that time and space are illusions meant, here's what they were meant to do, to keep you from experiencing your eternal whole nature. In other words, the you that you seem to be claiming, the you that you seem to be claiming is as unreal as time and space that you seem to inhabit. And if you would but gladly accept that, you would wake up in heaven. That's the big one right there. The you that you seem to be claiming is as unreal as time and space that you seem to inhabit. And if you would but gladly accept what you're hearing right now, if you would joyfully respond to this, then you would wake up in heaven. That's all it takes to be uncompromising with this. Okay, let's go to the next part. Instead, you point to the rose bush in the garden and say, well, maybe my ego isn't real, but that rose certainly is. The truth is, you have no idea what a rose is. So how can it be real? Oh, that's a big one. There's nothing I see that means anything. I've given everything that I see all the meaning that it has for me. A rose is a rose because we've claimed together that that's what it is, not because it really is a rose. And that's what it says here. What you call a rose is nothing but an agreement that you've made with other split minds to see something that isn't really there. An agreement that you've made with other split minds meant to help you see something that isn't really there. Wouldn't it be better, and here we are, wouldn't it be better to be uncompromising with what you're hearing right now? The world you see is not real. Period. Come up with as many rosebush exceptions as you want, but it won't change the truth that I'm pointing to. So, how many more rosebush exceptions are we going to come up with before we finally allow this truth to be true? Until we stop asserting this identity that we've claimed to hide from the truth of who I really am. How long is it going to be until I decide finally to be uncompromising with this message and not try and interpret around it? If you look at something like A Course in Miracles, it says the same thing over and over and over again. The world you think you see with your eyes is not the real world. Don't try and partition off parts of it and say, well, this is real, but this isn't. Imagine you're in a dream when you're sleeping and you did that. Does that make any sense? Well, that rose bush or that tree must be real, but this isn't. None of it's real. What does that mean? I don't have the slightest idea. I don't have the slightest idea, and neither do you. But there's something inside me that wakes up, that is enlivened when I hear this because I know it's true. I don't have to know how it's true, but if I am as uncompromising as it is with me, I realize that truth. So we have a choice here today. Are we going to hear this and then just go back and start making our rose bush exceptions? Well, this is real, but this isn't. Or are we going to relax into this joyful truth? Because I promise you, it is joyful. It may feel like a slap in the face right now, but it is the most joyful, holy thing you can accept. That the world you see is not the real world. And beyond this world, there is a whole, complete reality, a heaven where you are right now. And if you choose, you can step into that right now. So for those of you who aren't with us on a daily basis, we do have a couple of other wonderful teachers as well as many others here in the room. But we always turn to Vicki first because Vicki is that voice of practicality that helps us to see this from a different angle. So I'm going to turn it over to Vicki and then we'll hear from Teddy. Vicki, I think I saw you out there. Are you here today?
Oh, yes, Jimmy, I'm here. I'm here. And I love your message this morning. It's just perfect. So here's the practical piece. There are two big words in there. The first is identity, and the second word was agreement. So simply, if we want to see where we're hooked into our identity, just look at what we think we want. That's it. This is what I want to get. This is what I want to do. This is how I think this should be. This is how the world should run. All of those ideas come from a mistaken identity. And the action, the only action we need to take is, oh, this is the identity that isn't real. Well, then I don't know what's real. Help me. And that's all surrender is. It's, oh, I get it. I don't know what it is. And then when we surrender, and surrender is a bad word sometimes because it feels like we're being coerced, but we're not. When we just, the biggest, happiest thought I know is, I don't know. I don't know. And then if I relax, it's impossible that grace doesn't bubble up and take over. It's that simple. And we can do it with one rose bush at a time, one government at a time, one person at a time, or we can get the principle and do it with the whole thing.
Yes.
And that's what we're being called to do. The second word that's so important, the word you used was agreement. We have agreed that a rose is a rose. A cup is a cup. We've had agreement about it. We're being called to agree on the light that we are, on the light that we share. And that's why we are in this room today together, because we have a holy purpose to agree on the invisible, and it's not staying invisible long, because through our agreement, miracles are showing up through our hands, our own hands, because we're agreeing to the truth that we share this one light, this one love. And when we drop our identity, our concerns about this or this or this, and we let grace take us, it takes us, it leads us, then we are agreeing on the invisible truth that we are led by love and by grace, and that we are part of this love and grace. And we are weakening the thought system that believes in a rose, in a glass, in a cup. We're weakening that thought system, and we're strengthening the thought system of who we really are as beings of divinity, as beings of love that live under a simple law of love. And the effect is that we're happy here, and we are childlike, and we can afford to be, because we're not afraid of the world anymore, because we're not afraid of our own identity anymore, our own ideas that a rose is a rose, and this person is good, and this one is bad. We don't know about any of that. So we can just relax and witness, welcome and wonder the activity of grace and love that is the Spirit, that is the Holy Spirit, the Master Teacher within us all, take hold in us and express through us. We don't know where we'll go, what we'll do. Wasn't it St. Augustine? Love and do what you will. When we put ourselves under the law of love as our only identity, whatever we do proceeds from love. And we can be sure that what's given us to do is ours to do. We'll generate and extend more love, more peace. That's why we come together in circles of holy agreement, that the light we share is our only reality, and that the identity we've given to ourselves and to the rose bush and to the cup and to everything else isn't what it seems to be. I don't know what it is. What a simple bridge I don't know is. Yeah. So thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, everyone, for agreeing to be holy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
Vicki, this is why I love having you follow right after, because you always just take it the perfect angle, and exactly what you shared, the power of I don't know. Because what we do in perception in our split mind is we're constantly saying, I do know, much like a child would do. I know what that is. I know what that's for. No, you don't. You have no idea. I think we talked about this yesterday. When we were in our teens, we think we know so much, and it's only when you get a little bit older, a little bit more mature, when you've had a bit more experience, you're able to see, I didn't know anything. So begin there. Just go into that place. I don't know what any of this is for. Help me. And let's joyfully join in the I don't know, so that the truth can be revealed naturally, joyfully, simply. And as we keep saying over and over, and then we wake up where we've always been, the heaven that we never left, except in our imagination. Thank you, Vicki. That was beautiful. Teddy, would love to hear. We're going to pass the baton to you and see what you have to share.
I'm trying to figure out how to say what I wanted to say. You know, when we pick up something like the Course, or, you know, there are totally uncompromising statements in there. And we're so used to compromising and using the justifications of our own thinking to compromise it that we miss the point entirely. And at some point in time, you just have to let it mean what it says. Like when it says, the world I see has nothing to do with reality. It is of my own making and does not exist. Okay. Don't attempt to adjudicate or justify that utilizing your own thinking. Just let it be and sit there with it. And that's it. You know, it's the compromises we make in our own mind that cost us everything. And we think that we're being, you know, gracious to ourselves and to everyone else when we compromise. And it's not, because none of this is true. None of it is real. And yes, the truth is that I have been slapped. I've taken a few slaps for going on and on about stuff to snap out of it. And you know what? The truth of the matter is, I'm grateful for the people who are willing to do it. Somebody's got to sometimes.
Yes. Well, well, we share the same teacher, so we've all been slapped around a little bit by him. And I'm very grateful. And I hope you are all grateful for this, because this is not, at least you're getting a metaphorical slap. But sometimes this is all we need, is to be reminded to snap out of it. And as you said so beautifully, Teddy, just to sit with it. Don't try and work around it. Don't try and use the mind that caused the dilemma to try and figure it out with that same mind, because it won't work. You can't do it. All you can really do is sit still and see if it's possible for you to relax into the uncompromising message. You don't need to do anything with it. You don't need to try and use your mind to figure anything out. As Vicki said, just enter into that space of I don't know and relax there. I don't know what that rose bush is. I don't know what that tree is or what's it for, but I'm being told by a whole mind that there is a world beyond this one where there is only light, where there is only grace, where there is a whole, and I don't know how to get there, but if I can just sit still with my brothers and sisters in the certainty of this wholeness, it will be revealed to me. That's all I need to know. So thanks to both of you. So let's go to the Zoom room. Before we go to the Zoom room, is there anyone else here at Namaste that would like to share anything? Let's start back here. Come on up, dear. And then we'll have, why don't you just sit right there and I'll bring the camera to you. Yes, please. Have a seat, I'll bring it to you. Okay. Can't wait to hear what you say.
I used to run a Course in Miracles meeting, and my default has always been anger. And I used to just think, I hate this world, and I get so angry. And then finally, one of the members of the group, I was saying, I hate being angry. And he just goes, well, then why don't you just stop it? I am so sick of hearing you saying you're angry. And I went, oh, And it completely shifted me, and I don't think I've ever gone back.
That was your slap in the face? Hold on. Oh, I'll sit here for a moment so I don't have to turn her. I don't know how many of you know who Liz Story is. Liz Story is a very well-known pianist, Windham Hill pianist. And she and I once were, we were stuck in a snowstorm, and her car was stuck on the mountain where she lives, and we were trying to push it out without any success, and she started to freak out, and she was yelling and screaming, and I had gloves on, so it didn't really hurt, but I just whacked her. I don't know where it came from, because I'm not a whacker. I don't whack people, but I whacked her. I said, snap out of it, and she just kind of shook and said, thank you. That's what I'm hoping this is going to bring about, is that feeling of thank you. This is what I needed, just to be not hurt, but shocked to the point that we are able to break through. You want to share something? Yeah. Oh, yes. Sit. Yeah, sit. I'll hand it to you.
That's okay. Hi, namaste, everybody. Yeah, this thing of snap it out of it, it's just like a parent that, see a child touching the electricity, say, get your hands out of it, you gotta get a shock, something like that. So yeah, it's an act of love and compassion, definitely. I just wanted to add, there is two ways to do that from my point of view. There's one way is you can have the first way just to come. In the beginning, you can come gently and nicely from your heart and say, look, what you're doing is like that, and you are like that and like this, and there's a nice way to do it. So before you slap, you can say gently and directly from the heart. It can be very efficient, and maybe you don't have to slap. So that's one thing. But then if that doesn't work, out of compassion and love, you give the slap. Yeah. So everything is really okay. Everybody get out, get snot out of it. It's all good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And this brings up something I think is probably important to say. Don't be slapping anyone today. Okay? This just all of a sudden came up. Don't use this as an excuse to go around correcting anyone today. Okay? Because what we're describing really is not for me to do or you. This is for the Holy Spirit to do. And the only thing, what the slap is that we're talking, it's a metaphorical slap, because it's just taking literally what you're hearing. Or when you read something like A Course in Miracles, take that as the shocking wake-up call. So once again, I just want to be very clear. We're not asking anyone to go out and be correcting anyone or slapping anyone. Okay, just wanted to say that. All right, I'm just going to sit here for the moment. Let's see if there's anybody in the Zoom room that would like to share anything. Anyone quickly want to add anything to that? I'm looking here. Oh, Baraka, yes, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I am reminded constantly of the idea that if I'm going to get slapped by anything, by anyone, and by any event, it is because I have asked for it. I have asked for this lesson. I have asked for the teaching and the teacher, and that nothing is going to happen to me here that I have not absolutely asked for and required of the universe to give me. And I am always thankful for every slap that I get, no matter how gentle or how severe it might be, because I know that it is because I have asked for it to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Yes, take full responsibility. You're not a victim of anything. That's a bit of a slap right there. But as Vicky keeps saying, just relax into the I don't know. I don't know what this is for, but I know that it's for my awakening. I know it's for my awakening. And in that sense, it is the most compassionate, beautiful thing in this whole universe.